Welcome to the EntrePastors Podcast on YouTube. This is a show that helps pastors think, act, and thrive as prosperous entrepreneurs. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the EntrePastors Podcast on YouTube. My name is Jon Sanders. I am one of the co-founders of the EntrePastors platform, and today we are going to be speaking in this podcast episode to any pastor that has really been considering launching a business of your own, and you are really getting close to that decision point. Like the title of today's episode number 79, is Pastor, It is Time to Launch Your Business. And you're going to hear myself and my other co-host, Les Hughes, have a conversation about a brand new product that we're rolling out here at EntrePastors called our Business Launch Academy. I won't tell you all about it in this introduction. I'll let me and Les share more in our interview that we did with each other. But if you are a pastor that has been considering launching a business, you're going to find today's show inspiring and helpful, because I'm here to tell you, Pastor, it is time to launch your business. Check out this episode. I'm excited for you to hear what's coming your way. Here we go. We're so excited to have you listening in on this episode, because we've got something really exciting we want to announce to our community today. So this is kind of hot off the press. We're titling this episode, Pastor, It's Time to Launch Your Business. And let me just say, we understand, Les, that we've got more than just pastors that tune in and listen to us. We have an audience made up of people that are very much of a ministry mindset. You know, they're comfortable around the church space or the nonprofit space, and they feel a deeper sense of calling in their life to ministry. And so it's not just pastors or missionaries, although that is kind of our primary audience. So even though we have pastor in the title, this is for anybody. If you want to do better financially, then we're telling you it's time to launch your business. Les, we wanted to start this episode by just kind of reiterating once again, why does EntrePastors exist? So if someone were to bump into you in an elevator and you mention EntrePastors and they're like, what's that all about? Why are you guys a thing? How would you answer that succinctly for someone? Why does EntrePastors exist?
Well, our reason to be here is to help pastors, and with the caveat that Jon just mentioned that there are others, but primarily pastors achieve financial freedom as they think and act and thrive as prosperous entrepreneurs. So we have a lot of people in our tribe that result sounds great. They're just not quite sure how to get there. And we come alongside them and help them with that strategy piece to put together a plan to go from where they are to where they really want to be.
Yeah, and one of the ways we say it that's even a little more succinct is we are blowing up the narrative of the starving pastor. You know, we won't go deep into that on this call, what all that means, but in short, it's this idea that everyone's pretty comfortable with the pastor who's barely getting by financially. Even pastors, like, we sign up for that. We make a mental, spiritual agreement when we go into this line of work that, hey, I guess I'm going to be broke. And that's somewhere along the line, someone told us that was part of the deal, that to be a pastor means you will struggle financially. And that is a narrative that we are hoping to end, and we are helping end. And we see business as a way of doing this. This is not a podcast about how to get your church to give you a bigger salary. We see that as being such a dead-end street, you know, like, not to say some churches maybe shouldn't pay their pastors better, and that's a conversation for a different day. But even if we win that conversation, it is still a very short-lived, dead-end road, that there's a ceiling to a pastor's earning potential when they are being paid primarily from a church or a nonprofit. There's just some narratives in people's minds around that of, well, we can't pay you much for that because it's ministry. And so we're not even arguing that. That's not our answer. Our solution is, okay, cool. Let's get you out into the marketplace as a business owner, because there's tremendous potential for your ability to earn an income, to serve other people. And oh, by the way, there's lost people who need Jesus out in the marketplace as well. So there's a tremendous ministry benefit to having you as a business owner out in your community. We see that as the answer. So we help pastors launch businesses as a primary means of achieving that financial freedom.
Hey, John,
Yeah, go ahead.
something else too, for people that have been around a little while, I want to just make this a couple statements as we get going, because somebody might be listening to this podcast today, and it's the first time that you've listened to us and you don't kind of know where we're coming from and what our heart is. So I'll share this. For those of you that know this, it'll be just a reminder. Once you're around for a little while, John, you've heard this too. When somebody tells you, hey, it's not about the money.
Guess
what is it?
It's all about the money.
It's about the money, right? So I'll go ahead and admit that. But with what we're talking about, it is a whole lot deeper than that.
Yes.
Because we know that money's a tool. It's a great tool. It's a terrible God. We get it. The fact is, though, that scarcity will lead to certain results, and usually negative results, that can hinder pastor or missionary or kingdom-minded person. It can hinder really you accomplishing everything that you want to accomplish. So if you don't like stress in your family or personally, internally, if you don't like conflict, if you don't like the things that scarcity leads to, then we're offering some solutions to that. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
And it's so in this case, as far as that tangible resource, that bill, that bank account, it's really not about that, but it kind of is, because of what that leads to. Like, and margin, whether it's margin, John, with resources, or margin with time, or whatever it is, margin relieves a lot of that. It helps take away some stress, some drama, potential conflict, a lot of things. And yes, we absolutely trust God to provide our daily bread, no doubt about that. But we also trust God to help us be wise planners and wise stewards of what he gives us.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Sometimes, Les, you know this, so I'm not telling you anything new, but to our audience, sometimes Les and I receive some thoughtful hate from the internet, people sipping on the haterade out there. And yeah, they get real hung up on the money thing. Who are these pastors talking about money? And it's not all about the money. And I agree with you, Les. It's not all about the money. Money's not everything, but it's not nothing. Like, it is part of the conversation that needs to be had. We have thousands of pastors burning out, leaving ministry every single year, feeling like total failures. And money's not the only thing that got them there, but it's not part of what got them there. This place of constant scarcity, constant financial pressure, serving out of an empty cup. You can only do that for so long until you have nothing left to give and you hit the wall. So again, we recognize that this is not everything. Keep it in its proper perspective. But again, there's a lot of good things for the church as well as the pastors out in the marketplace. And we've addressed that on other podcasts. We won't take the time to drill down into that here. Other than to say, if you're new, I'm glad you mentioned the new listener, because we hope we have new listeners every week. This is the first podcast you're tuning into. We are huge fans of pastors who own businesses. We think it is a good thing for pastors to be in the marketplace. We're not hiding that. We think it's an answer to a problem that's out there. So I want to just ask you, if you're listening to this and if you're in a place that you can do this, if you're driving, don't follow my advice, because I'm going to ask you to close your eyes for an extended period of time. Okay. So if you're driving, keep your eyes open. But if you're able, kind of close your eyes and imagine with me for just a moment, Pastor, what would it look like a few months from now if you actually had a business of your own? And if you're listening to this podcast, I'm making an assumption that on some level, this is already an attractive idea to you. That's why you tuned into this, because already something in the name of EntrePastors is singing a song that you like the tune of it. I want you to imagine being in a place where you have a business of your own. You have a stream of revenue, maybe multiple streams of revenue now that are flowing into your life through that business. You're meeting people, you're getting opportunity to serve and minister to people, and like your business is functioning, it's growing, it's out there and it's doing it. You're making sales, whatever the product or the service that you do or that you are offering, like people are purchasing that. And you now own a business. Here's what I am assuming, that for many pastors, and Les, you and I get this from so many of the conversations we have as clients come to us and pastors reach out. They love that thought. Like, they can see that picture in their mind, but there's a gap that exists between being there and where they wake up today and find themselves, feeling overwhelmed. I'm already overworked and underpaid. I work way too many hours already in this one church that I serve, and I can barely keep up there. I don't know how in the world I would ever launch a business and get to where you're talking about. So there's almost this insurmountable gap that exists between where I feel like I am today versus that picture you're painting for me in the future, John. And we have something that we think can help stem the tide of that, Les. We want to step into that gap, and we want to walk beside pastors with them from where they are today to their desired outcome of being in that place of owning a business. So I'll let you, I'll do a drum roll here. Actually, I don't have a drum, so I can't do a drum roll, but I'll let you unveil this new thing that we are getting ready to roll out in just a few short weeks. So tell us about what we're doing, Les.
Well, we are rolling out something that we're calling Business Launch Academy. And every single part of that, we talked a long time about what to name this offering because we want to be real clear about what it is. And we can get into the details in the next part of our conversation. But think of it like this: pastor, leader, kingdom-minded person. Think of it like this. For me as a leader of a local church, one of the probably the most exciting thing is to see somebody who doesn't know the Lord go from being in that state, spiritual state, to starting to have questions about who Jesus is, to finally coming to the point where they believe and repent of sin and confess Jesus as Lord and Savior. That's right there at the top. But then just below that is also the ability to kind of have a vision, and have a sense of where the Lord wants us to go as a group of people, and then to put a team around that to develop a strategy and some actions and some habits and some creativity to make that dream or that vision become a reality. And so a lot of pastors and leaders of ministries and people that we're talking to, they see that 35,000 foot view, but we kind of need other people to come alongside of us to give us a strategy and help us see how we can all get there together. And Business Launch Academy is really a part both. It's helping develop that vision if you don't have it already, but maybe you got an idea, but then especially to be that team to come alongside of you and help you build a strategy that's going to allow you to get the results that you really desire. And so we believe that we can do that in this 16-week, that is, so this 4-month program that helps you launch this business so go from an idea to launch and then build that business out to accomplish the goals that you have.
Yeah. So this Business Launch Academy, one of the things, Les, when you reminded me of something when you said that every word we chose on purpose for that. I remember many months ago as we were talking through this and dreaming about this with our team, one of the ideas that was thrown out for a word was the word incubator. And we nixed that because we said in an incubator, you just sit. You think about an egg in an incubator, it just sits and heats up, and then eventually time does its thing and something hatches.
Passive.
That's not what this is. Yeah, it's passive. This is not passive. An academy essentially requires that there's some work on your part. One of the things we want to stress as we paint the picture of this Business Launch Academy is that this is not a get rich quick thing. We're not saying that, hey, join us for 4 months and you're going to just be swimming in money before it's done. There's going to be work required from you. The good news is we're going to outline what those big steps are, and we're going to support you every step of the way as you take action. But yeah, this is not an incubator where you just sit back and let something happen to you passively. You have to happen to this, but we are going to help you launch a business. Thus the title of this episode, It's Time to Launch Your Business. And so if I can just paint a few more details of this picture of what our Business Launch Academy is, yes, it's a 4-month program where we've got content every single week that's going to be delivered to you, and it's going to be dripped out to you week by week, so you can't just rush ahead and watch all the content. With every week, there's going to be clear calls to action. There's going to be action steps that you need to take. Along with that content is going to be a weekly call. This is probably one of the things I'm most excited about, where for 16 weeks, Les and myself will get on a call with you and anyone else that's in our Business Launch Academy, and we will talk about specifically your situation, your where you feel stuck, the roadblocks that you're coming up against. So you're going to get those 16 group coaching calls with anyone that's in the Business Launch Academy. We're probably going to have a private Facebook group or if it's not Facebook, it'll be somewhere else. We still haven't fully landed on that, but there will be some community. There's going to be some other forms of communication with myself and Les, primarily through an app we call Voxer. There will be a channel where you can reach out to us between the meetings if you have a quick question on something. Everyone that's in Business Launch Academy is also going to get 3 one-on-one calls with either myself or Les, or both of us, depending on our schedule. You may get both of us on that coaching call with you. But so you're going to get all of the group sessions, but you're also going to get some one-on-one attention as we walk you through the checklist that is going to be required for you to graduate. We're literally going to have a graduation checklist in place of these steps that need to be taken. And some of those are going to be largely based on the path that you're on. It's not a one size fits all. So again, this will be a very custom thing built to where you are in the business that you're trying to launch. But here's our goal. If it's okay for me to say this, I want to be very careful not to overpromise something. So hear what I'm saying, hear what I'm not saying. Our goal is we want to help you recoup the investment for this Business Launch Academy before it's even over. And is it okay if we just say what the price is, Les? There's no reason to hide that, right? Like we didn't really talk about it before we hit record, but
yeah,
it's $2,000 for this 4-month program that breaks down to about $500 a month. It's exactly $500 a month, but here's our goal is that before those 4 months are even done, that your business has launched and you've brought in at least that much in total revenue of the business. Now, we can't promise that. There's a lot of variables, right? So there's a lot of things that depend on whether or not that happens in that timely of an order. But I will tell you this, unless I know you would agree, we're confident that if somebody comes to us with a good idea and they're willing to put in the work and we walk beside them and encourage and support them through the process, they will not only recoup their initial investment, they will recoup much more than that. Would you agree?
Much more than that. And I would say, John, these are long-term relationships that we're wanting. It's not just a 16-week and hey, see ya.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had people in our community that we've been helping build their businesses now for over a year, and that's going to continue.
Yep.
And so I would say just knowing what we're really referring to and what's possible and the people that we know and what we've seen in our own world, to say that 10x that investment is a possibility in a relatively shorter amount of time is not an overreach. We've both seen that and witnessed that. So I don't have any question that that's possible. And the powerful thing about the group part of that, John, is that a lot of times that you don't need 10 ideas. You need one. You need one really good idea. And often it comes in those conversations from somebody that might even be a little bit ahead of us in the journey. And we're like, you know what? I'm going to try that. And doggone if it doesn't work. That's the dynamic of what we're talking about. And here's one thing to keep in mind. You mentioned those that drink the haterade sometimes. We have people that ask, man, how could you charge for any of this? These are people in ministry. These are pastors and we've done other podcasts about that and about having a money mindset and all that, but I'll speak to it briefly in this way. Who said we don't give away a lot? I mean, in fact, John, by people who are close to us that really are even ahead of us in this business world, we've been told, man, you guys give away too much.
You're too generous. Yeah,
because we really don't make any distinction. The only thing between what like podcast content and then a 16-week program like Business Launch Academy, except that it's just different with somebody who has skin in the game and makes that investment and goes very deep over a longer period of time and takes actions. That's just a catalyst to get those results. When you're kind of just listening to a podcast every now and then, or reading a post every now and then, or attending a challenge, you can kind of kick the can down the road. But buddy, when you got skin in the game and there's personal accountability that goes along with that, that's when things start to happen. You could probably say that a whole lot better than I did, but that's why.
Yeah, well, no, it's 100% true that basically the people we see getting the best results in their EntrePastor journey are those that are willing to make the investment. So to anyone listening to this going, wow, $2,000, unbelievable. Who could charge that much money for a 4-month coaching program? That tells me a lot about your mindset more than it does your financial situation. It says way more about the way you think than the condition of your bank account. I'm just telling you, the people who see the investment for what it is and are willing to make that investment into themselves, you're not investing into myself and Les. I almost made the joke that all proceeds go to feed hungry children, mine. But I'm like, that's a great joke, but it's not really true because you're not investing into Jon and Les. You're investing into yourself, your future, your family. And so if you get it, you get it. As the young kids say these days, if you know, you know. And so this is for people who get it. Something else we should maybe say here, Les, and then this will kind of bring us to our a wrap up where we can kind of make a call to action. Someone else that this would not be for. So let me put a few things out there where I can just tell you not to sign up for Business Launch Academy. Again, if you're not willing to do the work and take action, this is not going to be just a come and listen to Jon and Les teach and then magic happens. This is you do the work. So if you're not willing to work, don't sign up for this. And then I would also say, if you don't have a clear idea of what your business might be, we have a different offer for you, and it's totally free. And we're going to tell you about that before we wrap up here today. We're going to invite you into a 4-day challenge that is designed to help you get clarity on an idea for your business. But if you're not really clear yet, then don't hold off on signing up for this, because we want you to come to us with a pretty clear idea of, I want to start a coaching business. I want to launch my painting business. I want to launch my e-commerce. Like, we want you to kind of have a clear idea, because then we can really work with that and help you see that become a reality. So here's what I would say. What we want you to know, this podcast is releasing the last Friday in February 2023. We are kicking off our very first round of Business Launch Academy in early March of 2023. Now, if you're listening to this weeks or months later, you can still get in, because this is going to be an ongoing thing. You can join really at any time in the process. You're just going to be coming in and you might be on week 1 and someone else might be on week 12, and that's totally fine. So you can start at your pace. But if you want to get in on the ground level of this thing, when we start March 8th, 2023 is our first group call. We've already got a couple people in the door, it sounds like. We're excited about that. And if you're one of those people that get energized by being first in line, then we just want you to know, here's the call to action for you. If you're listening to this like, Jon and Les, sign me up. I've heard enough. I want to launch my business. It would be incredible if 4 months from now, my business is a real thing that's happening in the world. Shoot me or Les an email. My email is Jon, Jon, at EntrePastors.com. And Les is LES, Les at EntrePastors.com. So shoot either one of us an email and just say, guys, I'm in. What's the next step? And we'll get you signed up ASAP. And you can jump in right now. If you're listening to this sometime in the future, again, same thing. Just reach out. Let us know you want to be a part of it, and we'll get you connected. But there is a little bit of a time-sensitive thing. If you're one of those guys or gals saying, get me in on the ground level of this thing, that's exciting to me. So,
yeah. And also, Jon, just for anybody that may wonder about this, we have a support team. We have a great team of people that really get after it. But if you email us, like if you use those email addresses, that doesn't go to our team. That really does come to us, and we read them all and we respond to all of them. So that's just the quickest and the best way to reach out to us in a timely manner. And we really encourage you to do it if you're ready to take action. Hey, one more thing, Jon, before we move on and kind of wrap this up, is just so that people will kind of get an understanding of what it is we're talking about. When we say take action, we're not saying like invest $100,000 in a fast food franchise. Okay, so just give an example of the kind of action that we're talking about that helps, somebody do what we're talking about, kind of move the needle.
You're asking me to give some examples? Yeah. Okay, cool. So like, how about this? I have a name for my business. Like, let's get that solidified. I have a logo for my business. If it's applicable, it may not be in all situations, but I have a website for my business. I've established an LLC. I've opened a business checking account. All of those things can sound overwhelming. We're going to have them all in a nice checklist for you. And week by week, we're going to make sure that these things are getting accomplished so that you can actually graduate from Business Launch Academy. If you don't graduate, you have to stay in and keep paying us. So there's going to be, that was a joke, but
and that checklist is money. Those are objective things that you can go through and check off. And at the end of the day, you can see what you've done and move the ball down the field,
Absolutely. So here's what I want to say as we're wrapping up. Business Launch Academy, it is for some of you. It's not for all of you, but if you're one of those going, Jon and Les, let me in, then you know how to reach out and get a hold of us. If you're not there yet, but you're like, I'm intrigued about this whole business thing, I'm not really ready to make that investment and jump in. I want to tell you about a free resource that is available, and that is our 4-day challenge that's coming up soon as well. We are going to run these on a regular basis. I'm not going to say monthly because it won't always be monthly. As of the time of this recording, we've been doing them pretty much monthly, but at some point in the future, that'll change to a little bit less often. But our 4-day challenge, we call it 4 days to a profitable business idea. And here's the URL to get signed up for that. If you're more in this stage of kicking the tires and just thinking about it, and I have a few ideas or I have no idea of what I would do, but I need a little bit of help. If you go to EntrePastors.com/4-day challenge, you will see the place to get registered for the next challenge. The dates will be there for that. And you can get signed up and hold your spot in that challenge. There's an offer that comes along with that for some extra coaching calls. That's not free. There's a charge to that, and you'll find out all of that information when you go to the URL and sign up for that. But really, our goal is to be able to serve people in our audience, whether you are at ground zero of this thing and have no idea which way to go, or even if you've been in business for a while and you're like, I just need a supportive community where I can go celebrate the wins that I've had in my business as a pastor, then we've got something for you there as well. And now this Business Launch Academy, we feel, is like a really good in-between step that really takes people from ground zero to flying and succeeding in business. So we're excited about it, Les. I can't wait to get this thing going, and proud of the work we're doing. And I mean that genuinely. I'm not being a smart aleck. Like, I'm proud of you, proud of me, proud of EntrePastors. I'm excited about what we're putting out into the world. So, well, hey, thanks for watching this episode of the EntrePastors podcast. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can be notified every time we release a new episode. If you'd like to get connected to other pastors who are learning to think, act, and thrive as prosperous entrepreneurs, then we invite you to check us out on Facebook. Just search for the EntrePastors Connect group. Answer a few of our simple questions there, and we'd love to include you in the conversations. And if you're really ready to go to the next level, then we invite you to join our EntrePastors membership community. When you become a monthly subscriber, you will receive access to courses, exclusive community, and coaching that will help you along in your own EntrePastors journey. If there's anything else we can do to serve you, please visit us at EntrePastors.com, and we will do our best to serve you there. God bless everybody. See you soon.